Hi, if you follow my channel and you've been watching along, you'll have noticed that I'm doing a few more on my Is It Worth It series. This is really me coming to look at miniatures that I've bought recently, and I've been putting them aside, waiting for an opportunity to record reviews. Rather than just putting them in a sort of a standard review, I'm looking at them with that is it worth it mentality, both for the game that they're designed for and for their general purpose use for miniatures gaming at large. So I've done one for the Icarus Miniatures Alliance Trooper, and I'm coming back now to look at something a lot more mass market by comparison. This is an Imperial Assault expansion set for the Imperial Security Bureau Villain pack. So we'll take a moment and come back and look at this in more detail. Now, I said on the Is It Worth It review of the Icarus Miniatures Alliance Trooper that I thought the packaging was a bit large for the size of the miniature. This one is even bigger, scarcely fits in my camera field of view. Now, in its defense, it does come with two miniatures inside it, but unlike Icarus, it's not a clamshell. Clearly there is a shoplifting risk, because to get into this I'm going to need the scissors. This stuff is packed better than my razor blades. Oh dear. Right, okay. We're in. There. And what are we getting? We're getting some standard Imperial Assault bump. Paperwork, cards, counters, and finally, so much plastic. Finally, two miniatures. So we've got a lot of plastic. We've got the box, some cardboard. I'm just going to toss those away. Obviously, all of that is rubbish, and if I've got some feedback for Fantasy Flight Games, it is that is totally over the top for packaging for two miniatures and a bunch of cards. Okay, maybe you think it's nickable and it needs to be sealed, but really, seriously? Look, I mean, when it comes to actually meaningful content, that's everything. We'll bring back the Icarus Miniatures box. You probably could have fitted most of that in there, couldn't you? Really? Did it need to be that size? It didn't. However, that aside, let's actually look at the content. These stickers are for distinguishing your miniatures, and some counters to go with them. If you're playing the Imperial Assault game, these are mildly useful. I don't use them that often myself. Now, that said, I've not looked into the component breakdown, so that's what we start with. Yeah, they're just ID tokens and stickers. However, I like this because Imperial Assault comes with two ways to play. It comes with the campaign, and I've just finished playing the Bespin campaign, in which these guys appear as characters. But it also has the skirmish game, and this is the skirmish game mission briefing. Into the Unknown. Oh no, this is for a campaign event. That's pretty cool. Ah, there we go. There's the skirmish map, is the ISB Training Grounds skirmish map, which needs the Bespin Gambit expansion. So to get the most out of this expansion, you're going to need the Bespin Gambit expansion as well. And then this is a campaign side mission, which again needs the Bespin Gambit expansion. So I like it. Two new missions for either way to play the game. And we have the cards. Oh, that does not want to open. There we go. What have we got from cards? So we've got some Imperial stratagems. Oh no, these are, I tell a lie, these are command cards for the Imperial player in the skirmish game. So those are skirmish game things. We've got a couple of reward cards for the campaign game. We've got a hidden card, because these guys can hide. Then we've got
So, 2 skirmish missions for A and B for the ISB training grounds, counter slice and infiltration games, like skirmish missions. That's the side mission for the campaign, Into the Unknown. And then we've got 3 deployment cards. Oh, okay, so we've got the standard ISB Infiltrator deployment card, we've got the Elite ISB Infiltrator deployment card, and we get an additional skirmish upgrade deployment card for cross-training, which gives the spy trait to troopers, which is quite cool. So sort of super up-trained stormtroopers. And then finally we've got some influence cards for the Imperial player on the campaign, which is good stuff. So there's plenty of card in here. This is a proper expansion. These aren't just miniatures you're buying. It is actually new ways to play the skirmish Imperial Assault game, and I really approve of that. It's one of the things that really excites me about the Imperial Assault game itself, that it is this expandable. Finally, we get to the miniatures. Now, they are identical, so I'm going to put one aside, and we'll look at the other. Now, if you're looking for high quality casting, then you've kind of come to the wrong place. You know, these aren't your top level quality Games Workshop, Privateer Press, even Icarus miniatures or Corvus Belli. You're not going to get that level of casting or sculpting here. However, these are nice looking miniatures. They're wearing a variation of Stormtrooper armour, so if you are a Star Wars fan, you're going to notice that, and you might like to paint them up in the standard white if you want. But realistically, these guys are pretty generic sci-fi troopers. So yes, if you're playing Star Wars Imperial Assault, this is a very useful expansion, but the miniatures alone are nice looking, 28mm, heroic-ish in proportions, standard sci-fi troops with a kind of elite armoured look about them. You know, they've got a few pouches and buckles, they've got their blaster, they've got a radio headset. I think it's actually the sculpting of the face which I like the best, even though it's not to the same granularity of detail as the high quality sculptors casters these days. The swept hair and the clean cut rugged look, you know, it really sort of gives them a bit of an action hero, anti-hero villain type look about them that I think is really appealing, and that's definitely one of the reasons why I picked up this expansion pack, quite apart from owning and enjoying the Bespin expansion. So the RRP on this pack is £10.50. I picked this up at a small discount. I got it at £10. So if you're just looking for the miniatures, these miniatures are £5 each. Now, for what you're getting, that's a lot per miniature. I mean, I think if you were just looking for miniatures of this quality and this design, £3.50, £4 would be a reasonable ask. £5 is quite a lot, especially given that they're 2 identical miniatures. If they were different poses, maybe I'd feel differently, but they aren't. They're just exactly the same miniature. That said, if you are an Imperial Assault player and you already own the Bespin Gambit expansion, then all this additional stuff is pretty cool. I mean, yes, they are only cards and they split usefully between the skirmish and the campaign game, but for the skirmish player, you've got 2 new deployment cards which obviously support the miniatures, but it's 2 different ways of playing the same miniature, basic and elite, plus you've got an additional skirmish upgrade, plus you've got 2 new skirmish missions and 4 new command cards to go in your set. So for the skirmish player, that's a pretty good deal. And then for the campaign player, as well as the deployment cards and 2 ways of playing these guys, you've got influence cards, you've got a new side mission, 2 new rewards, and for both players an extra hidden card, which is helpful. The counters, well, they're counters. Hey, But overall, £10.50 for the game value that you're getting out of this box is actually outstanding value. I mean, I was a little bit taken aback when I saw the cost of the additional miniatures for the Imperial Assault game, but I got to give credit that Fantasy Flight, other than totally over packaging this stuff, they are making it worth the investment. I mean, they're saying it's not just about buying new miniatures, it's about buying new ways to play the game, and I think that's a terribly interesting and exciting way to approach expansions and miniatures as a single product. So all credit to Fantasy Flight Games. Is the ISB Infiltrators Villain Pack worth it? 2 thumbs up from me. Yes, it definitely is.